What's up, G Show Land, and welcome to another episode of the G Show Podcast. I am G1, and this is the Geek Out 2018's best and worst. It's a new year. This is a little bit late, but that's all right. Better late than never. I am joined by my right hand on the G Show, Mr. G95, Matt. It's been a very long time, my brother. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. It's been, way too long.
Yeah, it's been way too long because we had to wait on you to compile your list. I don't understand. You had 365 days to do this, Matt.
Yeah. I still didn't see every single thing I wanted to.
Don't worry. Neither did I. But I've seen enough. I'll tell you, this year was kind of weird, man. There was a lot of hype surrounding a lot of things to come out of this year. And one of those things, not movie related, but TV show related, that I didn't give any credit to. Zero credit. Matter of fact, we bashed it a whole bunch of times during 2018 in the beginning, was Titans on the DC Universe app. And fuck me, bro, that show is fantastic. Oh my God.
I told you. I was the one defending the show the whole time. And then I talked you into watching it. And yeah, that's all I can say is I told you.
Yeah, I tell you, man, that was definitely probably the best ongoing purchase of 2018 that I've made, getting that DCU subscription service. So thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Seriously, man. Full stop. Titans is fantastic. Starfire even works for me. Remember we were crapping all over the look? Oh, God.
Yeah.
Man.
So what's been your favorite episode?
What's been my favorite? There's been several. I love the Hawk and Dove one. I love the second Hawk and Dove one. The finale, really, because, I mean, it was the what if scenario of, spoiler alert, but what if Batman went crazy? And I loved that. Loved it. It was like Injustice, the video game, but with Batman instead of Superman. I was off the wall with it, bro.
Yeah, there's really no. I felt like there was one bad episode in the whole series or in the whole season, and that was the Asylum one.
A lot of people say that. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't care for that one a lot, but I mean, it was just kind of forgettable, but every other episode was just phenomenal. But the one that really stood out to me was the origin of Hawk and Dove.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the standout to me of the whole show, whole series.
I agree. And I got to give massive props where props is due. I thought Doom Patrol was fantastic also, and I am excited for that series this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. So, yeah. Massive props to the Titans, to the DCU. I am sorry I'm eating the crow right now because, boy, was I wrong. What I'm not wrong, though, is about the next list we're going to get into, which we're going to just jump the shark. And we're going to go, instead of doing our top 10 favorite movies of the year, we're going to go right away and do the top 10 Matt's got a top 10. I got a top 5. Worst movies of the year by far. I just could not stand these damn movies. Patooey. But since you've got 10, I'm going to let you go first, Matt.
Oh, God. You're going to let me do the whole thing?
Well, you can go, and if I hear something that I have, then I'll just jump in and chime in with you.
All right. Well, let's get right into it. Number 10, got The Summer of '84, kind of like a coming-of-age tale where it's kind of trying to be the Goonies, kind of trying to be like an 80s throwback, but also being like Rear Window or Disturbia, where like, oh, this person might be a serial killer. We might think so, and surprise, he is. And it's just, it was kind of bad.
Anticlimactic.
Yeah. It's just all a little bit played out. Following up with that, number 9 is the new Halloween. Yeah, I am an enormous Halloween fan, and I was completely underwhelmed with this one. It looked really good. There was some good parts, but altogether it just didn't hold up for me. Especially after like retconning the whole series, it just couldn't live up to Halloween 2 in my eyes.
Couldn't live up to Halloween 4 or 5. That's what I'm saying. Sorry.
Yeah, those ones aren't bad either. But Halloween 2 to me is the golden sequel out of all of them.
Gotcha. Wow.
After following that is The Predator.
Oh, yeah.
I hated it. I really hated it. I wanted to love it. I was really conflicted, but I hated it. There was some good stuff in it, of the chemistry between all the loonies. Loved that. I liked a lot of the more edgy kind of humor, but that's about it. The story was bad. A lot of the performances were bad. Just the choices made were bad. Yeah, it was. Try again.
Yeah, they really hand that movie up. Like it seemed like Shane Black was like, well, y'all know who I am. You know what I do. Now I'm gonna just turn everything on its head and take this franchise that we're supposed to, take to the future and make something of it again. And yeah, I agree. I wouldn't say it was the worst movie of the year, but it definitely.
Well, we're getting there. We're getting there. Coming in at number 6? Yeah, 6 is a Netflix original movie called Malevolent.
Okay.
It's just fucking boring. Really, that's the only thing worth saying. Like, me saying this much about it is too much. So we're going to the next one. Hell House LLC 2.
What?
Fucking loved Hell House LLC 2.
Okay.
I fucking loved the first one. It was a genuinely creepy found footage ghost kind of movie.
Right.
Genuinely really, really creepy. This one was hot garbage. And I watched it one night while I was drunk. And I'd normally like any movie I watch when I'm drunk, but I could not fucking stand this one.
I've never even heard of this one, to be honest with you.
Keep it that way. Watch the first one. Stop it right there. Following that is Cargo, another Netflix original film.
Is that the one with Lance Henriksen?
No.
All right. I know
Martin
what.
Freeman.
Yeah, I know what Cargo is. He's carrying the kid, right?
Post-apocalyptic, Martin Freeman, zombies, just a recipe for success because Martin Freeman is awesome. Everybody loves him. But goddamn, I hated that movie. It was just so boring and underwhelming and not interesting. And I know I'm in the minority with that because a lot of it's getting really good reviews, but I hated it. My friend who was a bigger Martin Freeman fan than I am hated it too. It was just bad. It was just exceptionally bad. Following that is The Strangers Pray at Night.
Right.
Just a shit slasher movie. That's about it.
I heard it was a bad sequel, yeah.
Yeah. The first one had no 80s nostalgia to it at all, so they forced 80s nostalgia into this one, and you know better than most how sick of that I am.
I know. I know.
Shockingly, though, Ready Player One isn't going to be on this list of worst, so, I mean, if that tells you anything, just because that Mechagodzilla scene was so fucking good.
I know.
After that is a Shudder original film called Witch in the Window. Another just bad movie, just a bad horror movie. That's about it. It was boring, bad acting, bad story. There was a couple of really creepy parts. That's about it, but not worth anybody's time. So at number 2, we got Godzilla: City on the Edge of Battle.
Wow, I forgot about that one.
Never did I ever think that a Godzilla movie would end up on my worst of the year, ever.
You know,
I hated it. It was so fucking boring.
Oh man!
And I think that's the worst thing a movie can be, is boring. And they made a Godzilla movie boring. How do you even do that? How do you even do that?
I gotta admit, you know where I stand with Shin Godzilla, but I watched Shin Godzilla 100 times over that movie.
Yeah, exactly. Because stuff at least sometimes happens in Shin Godzilla.
Right. Oh my, yeah, I forgot all about that. See? Yeah, I forgot about that one on purpose. Thanks for putting it back into my brain. It just made the list.
This is why I keep track of everything that I watch that came out, not just the theater stuff. And then my number 1 most hated movie of the year is Unsane. My God, what a piece of shit film.
Is that the movie that was made directly from an iPhone?
Yeah.
Come on, man. You gotta give it props for that.
No, I will not. I will dock it 1,000 points from that because it was made by an established director.
Yes, it was. Who did that? It wasn't Soderbergh, was it?
Yeah, it was. It was Soderbergh.
Shit, Jesus Christ!
Like I could make an entire podcast about all the reasons I hate Unsane, but we're not going to do that. So we're just going to go into my dishonorable mentions.
Okay.
Which I'll just briefly gloss over these. Before I Wake, another Netflix original movie made by Mike Flanagan, I believe, who I really like, but he's had a lot of stinkers lately, and took years and years to finally get distribution. And this is what we got. It was a little underwhelming. Pacific Rim Uprising, just a bad movie, just a bad sequel.
Man, I watched that movie Friday, and I gotta be honest, man, I enjoyed it more this time around than I did the first two times.
I don't think I have the strength to watch it again, so props to you. And then this one, I wasn't sure whether to put it on my best of list or my worst of list, so it's in the dishonorable mentions, and that'd be Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. I had an amazing time watching this movie, but because it was so bad, I just Mystery Science Theater the shit out of that movie. And
yes,
I hated it. It was just it was a mess on so many levels, but it was so hilariously bad that it has to be mentioned to some degree.
Man, well, you really went in. I gotta be honest, my list for the movies I hated the most, I only have 5 because there were 5 movies that and I can't say why. Honestly, I think I'm being unfair to one in particular because I really had no interest in seeing this movie, and I was just like, well, it's available. Let me watch it, right? Me and my wife last Friday decided to watch it, and I was just like, and I got mad, and I put it on my list because sometimes a movie gets so overhyped on the internet, and I know that the internet is a bad thing, right? But sometimes a movie gets so overhyped on the internet, especially something that it's just never my style or my cup of tea. And I'll go ahead and I'll watch it, and sometimes I'm pleasantly surprised. Case in point, The Other Guys by Shane Black. I really enjoyed the shit out of that movie, but that was, last year or 2 years ago?
Yeah, I think so. This
year, it was Bad Times at the El Royale. I did not like this movie at all.
Wow.
Yeah, but you know what?
Yeah.
And here's the problem, because again, this is not a movie that I would have normally went to the theaters to go see. It's just not that's not the type of thing I like. Like, maybe 20 years ago, I would have been into this. But, now, I don't know. I'm not my type of movie. But, like I said, it was available. I could watch it. So I said, let's watch it. We watched it. And I was like, this is boring. It's like nothing's happening. There was a couple of cool things in regards to, violence. But other than that, when Thor comes and makes his grand appearance at the end, I'm like, this dude's a pedophile. One, this is why, So yeah, that makes so. In that regard, I might take that off my worst movie list and just give it a dishonorable mention because it's not fair to the movie. It's not a movie that I would have gone to see anyway. It was just made available. But I just wanted to get that out there. That's it. Not my type of movie. It's like,
all right, well, we're going to come back to that one in a bit.
I'm sure we are. One of the movies I hated the most this year, I swear to God, I've seen it 3 times, and I still hate it. It had potential, and I never thought about doing what you did and riff it, but it's Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. God, I hate that movie. Whoa, boy, I hate that movie. I had a conversation with Chase over in the Godzilla Block Party. We did a rundown for, the giant monster movies and everything we're, coming up in 2019 involving Godzilla. And this movie came up, obviously. It's giant dinosaurs. We had to talk about it. I just could not. I really did love the opening sequence of this movie. Everything about the first, 10 minutes of this movie was fucking genius. And I was in hook, line, and sinker. I was even in with the volcano storyline. I was okay with all of that. I was okay with it. I just wish that was the movie. Instead of them going to the facility and we're auctioning off that, it was, oh God, it was the worst. And then don't get me started with the little clone girl, Clonette. Get out of here with this.
Oh boy.
Oof.
Like that.
I hated this movie. And I'm going to tell you, I am not a Jurassic Park fanboy. You know this. I've been on the podcast many a time saying the first Jurassic Park movie, while I like, it doesn't blow me away when I watch it. It's not one of my favorite movies ever. I don't go back to it all the time. I like Jurassic Park 2 and Jurassic Park 3 more than I like Jurassic Park 1. And I enjoy Jurassic World, the first one. This movie is the worst of the bunch, one of the worst of the years. I absolutely couldn't stand it. Blech! Throw up on it. Next one. This one I really... well, I know. I'm going to save that for next. This one really pissed me off. Because you were talking about bad zombie movies. I'll give you a bad zombie movie. I'll give you a really bad zombie movie. Day of the Dead Bloodline.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
Yeah, you see? You talk about a bad... Man, listen. When I saw the trailer to this, I said, I'm going to give this movie a shot. I liked who they had. I think it was Steve Miner was on it. Or was that the other...
Sounds about right.
Right? So I was like, I'm going to give this a shot. I'm invested. Oh, look, they got a bub-type character in this. I'm down for that. Because the original Romero one, even though it's not my favorite of his zombie movies, I still enjoy it thoroughly. Still love it. Especially that intro with the hello. I love all that, right?
Yeah.
This movie was fucking trash. Like, this was... like, I wanted to literally rip my own eyes out watching this movie. It was so bad. And then, you know, when you... Sometimes you just shut a movie off. I could not force myself to shut this movie off. I had to see it through to the end. And it's by far the worst zombie movie I've seen this year. The best zombie movie I've seen this year, which doesn't even make my top 10 list, was a movie called The Night Eats the World, which I thoroughly enjoyed. And it's rather boring. It's a guy in a house, you know, but I enjoyed it. It was so much better than this piece of shit movie. So screw you, Bloodline. How dare you mock the guy? Fucking I hate that movie. Next movie I hate, and again, this is my list is short. So this is the number 2 movie I hate. Mission Impossible Fallout. Fuck you. Fuck
wow.
you. That's right. No, I fucking hate this movie. I hate this movie. And you know what? I actually love Superman in this film. I thought he was fantastic, right? I loved him in this movie. I loved everybody in this movie except for Tommy Cruise. I love Tom Cruise. I do. But this movie was retarded. Like, I get it. It's Mission Impossible. But, dude, you cannot keep putting this dude in situations where he should be dead. It doesn't even matter. And he survives. The helicopter sequence... man, I get so mad. And I think the reason why I really hate this movie is because my best friend, who was championing this movie. I'm like, dude, you gotta be kidding me. The helicopter propeller went into his cockpit and it didn't touch him. He was in a sardine box. And the helicopter propeller went and he lived and he killed Superman. Nope. I hated that movie. The best part of that movie is the actual soundtrack to that movie. Can't stop the friction. I like that. That was good. Don't get me wrong. But that movie was dumb. They gotta stop making these movies. I understand that Tom Cruise is Xenu. I understand that he will never die in real life or in these stupid movies, but they need to end this freaking franchise now. It is dumb. It's run its course. There's no fucking way. The helicopter, the back propeller was inside the cockpit no. I hated it. And lastly, the fucking one that this shit right here put a spike in my heart. Like, this was it. I couldn't believe it because I was so on board for this movie. I could not wait. When I saw the trailer for this, I went batshit crazy. I called everybody up. You gotta see this. This is what we've been waiting for. Batman Ninja. You motherfucker. You motherfucker. Oh. Batman Ninja. You don't know. If you think I'm mad at Tom Cruise, you took my favorite comic book character and you had a really good the animation was slick. I was like, yes. And you turned it into a farce. It was the dumbest thing I ever seen in my life with Batman. I've seen some dumb Batman shit, okay? The one with Jim Carrey comes to mind. But this was worse than that. This was worse than Arnold Schwarzenegger goes, chill. No, this was by far the worst Batman movie I've ever seen, ever. It pissed me off to no end. It got stupid. They turned into Transformers. What the fuck is going on? Now, no. I hated this shit. Which is kind of crazy because later on in the year, something else came out in DC Animation that's actually on my list for the top 10 movies of the year. I don't understand how they ruined Batman like this, especially with such a cool concept. Fuck that movie. Worst movie of the year.
Batman Ninja. I almost put it's not on my list.
Yeah, I'm canceling the podcast. I'm canceling the podcast like Idris Elba. Cancel the apocalypse. It's over. This is ridiculous. Oh, God, I hate that movie, bro. That one hurt, man. That one stabbed my heart so friggin' oof. But enough of that bullshit. That was our worst of the list. There's a couple of others that I could give some honorable mentions or dishonorable mentions to. Fantastic Beasts 2. I'm looking at you. But you know, other than that, it wasn't. This year wasn't. There weren't that many, in my opinion, bad movies. The movies you ran off were a lot of movies that didn't come out in theaters and stuff like that. You know, you got to search for them and watch them, and I respect that because I did that too in the last 2 weeks that I've had off from work.
Yeah, I see your Amazon Prime. Yeah, I know what you watch.
You know what I'm watching, right? I got to give a shout out to what was it called? It was called Cold Ground. I was very interested in this movie. It's a found footage movie supposedly set in the 70s in the Swiss Alps with werewolves. Yeah, stay away from it. It's terrible. It's terrible. Not one of the worst. But boy, I was so upset with that movie. But yeah, like this year there was a lot of movies that came out that, although they're not the best, they didn't like. I expected them to be up there, and they didn't. They just passed. They were serviceable. But since that's all out the way, let's get into our top 10 list, bro. Starting from number 10. You want to go first, or should I go first?
I'll go first.
You go first? All right, start with top 10. You go 10 to 5, then I'll do my 10 to 5.
All right. I got at number 10, Cam, another Netflix original movie. Really, I thought it was really interesting. It's not a fantastic movie. I was very on the fence of whether or not I should put it on here, but that's why it's at number 10. I thought it was really interesting. I thought it was kind of creepy. It was. I thought it showed a kind of more interesting, introspective light on girls who do like the cam shows and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I just thought it was really interesting. It was very surreal. It had. I liked the way it was shot. Ultimately, kind of falls apart at the end, but I really liked it. At number 9, we got Overlord. I went into Overlord kind of just thinking it was going to be like a movie I'd enjoy, but I didn't expect to love it as much as I did. I felt it suffered from mismarketing more than anything else. I felt like people were going into it expecting it to be a horror action, or a horror with some action, but it's kind of the opposite of that. It's an action movie with a little bit of horror stuff. I thought it was really cool. I thought it was interesting. I'm glad they didn't spend so much time on the creatures. Yeah, it worked for me. Number 9 is
nope, number 8.
Or number 8, yeah, excuse me, is You Might Be the Killer, which was, I think it's a Shudder exclusive movie, but it's got Allison Hannigan, is her name, I think. The girl
from Buffy? And How I Met Your Mother?
What?
Allison Hannigan from Buffy and How I Met Your Mother?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my girl.
Yeah, it's kind of like an interesting take on the slasher, where this guy is realizing that he is the killer. And it's definitely a horror comedy, but I thought it was really fun. It reminded me a lot of Final Girls that came out a few years ago. Number 7 would be Vice.
Okay.
Yeah, I loved Vice. There was parts where my friends and I were just dying in the theater. I'm really not much of a political person, but I love how much Christian Bale throws himself into movies. And hearing that he got fat for a movie and like shaved his head and eyebrows and stuff. How could you not be interested? And turns out it was a really good movie with it.
He did it before in the Machinist or whatever. Remember?
Yeah, but he didn't. He got skinny for that.
He got real skinny. Like, yeah, the dude's he's legit.
Yeah, I love it. Number 6 is Infinity War, because how could you not put Infinity War on the list to some degree? And number 5 is The Bad Times of the El Royale.
Wow.
I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I don't know. I love those kind of like whodunit noir kind of movies, and it's hard to find good ones anymore, and that's one that really stuck with me. And I thought it was just all the performances were really good. The cast was stellar. I loved the visual style. I loved how it kind of jumped about. It was the best Tarantino movie that Tarantino never made.
You know, and that's funny because I did make the same comment to my wife, but I was like, this is the worst Tarantino movie, and I'm glad he didn't direct it.
I loved it. I thought it was just, I don't know, it worked for me. A lot of levels, but anyway, that's my 10 to 5.
That's crazy. Your 10 to 5 sucks, by the way. I just want to give you a heads up. Are you kidding me? Infinity War number 6. What's wrong with you? It's a J show, damn. It's a geek out. No, I'm just kidding. It's your list.
It made it on the list.
It made the list. All right, so my number 10 is a movie I watched earlier this year that it didn't have a theatrical release, and I just found it floating on the internet, and I was like, I'm intrigued by this. It's called I Kill Giants. And I'll be honest, man, it completely blew my mind. It's about a little girl. She has like a weird name or something. I forget what her name is, but she basically in her head, she kills giants. She has like a magical hammer, and it's just it was a very interesting take on the human psyche. That it reminded me of me when I was a kid, how I used to pretend that I would run around and slay giants, or in the snow walk around crushing buildings like I was Godzilla. And it was really fun. It was really cool. And then there's like a thing is like, is she really making this up in her head, or is this really happening type of deal? And I just thought it was a good movie. Family friendly, maybe not so much. But in this day and age, there's a lot of snowflakes, so who knows? This would have been a perfect family movie when we were young in the 80s. My parents would have put this on for us. And yeah, there's some things that probably would scare children now. Not scare them like jump scares, but scare them like take their innocence away in a sense.
Yeah.
That this movie does, but it does it really well. It's not forceful. It's not in your face. It was just a good, fun movie. I really enjoyed watching it. And it was like, I don't know, 1 o'clock in the morning when I put this on, and I'm usually sleeping by then. And I stood up the whole time, watched this. I was like, man, it had me hook, line, and sinker. So yeah, I Kill Giants. That's my number 10. My number 9. This is rough because it's a tie for me. It's a tie, and I think it goes back to nostalgia. And I don't know if we're allowed to do this. Are we allowed to have a tie for a number? Yeah.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
I'm going to just say it. Halloween.
Oh.
And Bumblebee.
Wow.
I know. Here's the thing. And nostalgia purposes.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm not surprised that Bumblebee is on the list at all. I had a bad theater experience with that. There's a girl, like I was right in the middle of a row, and then completely to my right was the rest of the row was all children, and then to my left was the rest of the row was just all old people.
Oh.
And then directly in front of me was a probably like 14-year-old girl who was not just on her phone, but she was like playing games on her phone.
Oh.
And I damn near knocked the phone out of her hand.
Yeah, this is where I do the popcorn method. I accidentally hit the popcorn about, I'm sorry, and I just drop it on them. Like, dude,
we got the recliner seats, so there's a solid like probably 4 or 5 feet between us, so I can see it, and I can't really do much about it directly.
I didn't have that bad of a theater experience. When I went into Bumblebee, I was sitting in there by myself up until the trailer started, and then there was at least 10 people came in the theater. That said about 400. So, technically, the odds were in my favor, and I had the best seat in the house because I reserved that son of a bitch. But these two movies, because with Halloween, and I get what you were saying, like I totally understand that Halloween 2 is something special. That is a really perfect sequel, right?
Mhm.
And I love Halloween 4 and 5. That was my foray into Halloween. Like I love those two movies. But I did like what they did because I absolutely hate Halloween 6. And I'm not a fan. I didn't even see the second Halloween from Rob Zombie, but I wasn't a fan of the first one. So I'm glad that all that's gone and retcon. My only concern is what the fuck? Like the end of Halloween 1, the original, like, and then they just kind of like, oh yeah, and then this officer here found him like just walking down the street, arrested him, and he's been in this mental institution ever since. That left me scratching my head. Outside, right? Outside of that, though, I enjoyed the shit out of it. I dug it. I love Jamie Lee Curtis. Honestly, I do. So seeing her in it, and she was a badass. I loved it. I loved the end. I loved the set. I loved them setting them up. I loved all that shit. So I was down for that.
There was a lot of really good things in the movie, but there was so many choices in there that just soured the rest of it for me. And yeah, I felt like, I had the same reaction walking out of Halloween that I did for The Predator. I was like, I don't think I like that very much. And then upon like reflecting over the next few days, like, yeah, no, I hated that. That was awful.
Yeah.
Same vibe for both movies. Anyway, continue.
As far as Bumblebee is concerned, now Bumblebee quite possibly could have been number 1 on my list. Seriously. Because when that movie starts off, okay, let me tell you something, Mean Gene. Rest in peace, Mean Gene. Oh God, I can't believe he died. Super Dave, what the fuck? Okay, I'm back. Let me tell y'all something out there in G-Show land. When Bumblebee starts off, we are in Cybertron. We are on Cybertron, and the war for Cybertron is raging. And I'm going to tell you this right now. Those first 10 minutes of that movie is the best 10 minutes of filmmaking I've seen in the past 5 years, bro. I went absolutely batshit crazy. I'm not lying to you. I had to throw away some of my popcorn because tears got in it. And I already had salt on the popcorn. I don't need salt water on the popcorn. Throw it out. I had tears in my eyes from the first 10 minutes because it was everything I wanted from a fucking Transformer movie. A live action one at that. Since Michael Bay made the first Transformers, like since they said we're gonna make a live action Transformers movie, there's no way after seeing that you can tell me those Generation 1 models don't work. Yes, they do. Yes, they fucking do. Are you kidding me, dude? I'm telling you that part alone is the number 1 thing I seen this year. Number 1 thing I seen this year. Are you kidding me? That shit was better than everything I seen this year. Everything. Those first 10 minutes. The rest of the movie was a cute little movie. You know, it's tied in the bow. You got the cute little girl doing a thing. I can't lie. She's a pretty little woman. I swear to God, if I was about 15 years young, I'd be trying to get with her. I'm not lying. I thought it was charming. John Cena was just terrible, though. He was the absolute worst, dude.
He was one of my favorite parts of the movie because his acting was just so... Like, they realized he couldn't act, so... they only would give him 1 sentence to say at a time.
You know what's killing me, though, is that I saw another movie, which is an honorable mention of mine, with John Cena this year, called Blockers. And he was funny as fuck. He was good in that movie. But, yeah, him trying to be serious, I'll tell you right now, if you have to put that character, right, John Cena's character in Bumblebee, up against The Rock's character in Doom, because they like the same fucking person, right? The only thing is The Rock had a rated R movie, so you can say fuck a lot, right? There's no fucking question, though. The Rock's character in Doom was way better. But yeah, that was like the one thing I was just like, oh my God, that John Cena is absolutely horrible in this. Outside of that,
my problem with the movie was like, it had 2 back-to-back damn near perfect action sequences. And so, yeah, we had the War of Cybertron, and then we had them chasing Bumblebee through the forest for a little while.
Right.
And I was like, fuck yeah, this is gonna be a really action-packed movie. I can't wait. And then no action at all until the last 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's just like this weird, like, slice of life coming of age thing. That was it was interesting. I liked it. I liked Haley
Steinfeld.
Steinfeld, yeah, Steinfeld, whatever it is. Except for a few parts where it just got hilariously bad.
Right.
But like John Cena went through such a weird like transition because in the opening scene he was he was charming, he was likable. Like I was like, all right, yeah, I'm ready for this guy to lead the movie as he's interacting with his like teammates and stuff.
Yeah.
And then Transformers show up and he's just like, no, fuck, just one line at a time now.
It's like they filmed that opening sequence last, where he actually had some acting chops.
Yeah. It was strange, but I enjoyed it. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. It was good enough.
That's why it's in my top 9 tied. I like I said, the anything on Cybertron or anything with the like Cliff Jumper on the moon or wherever they were. Oh my God, are you kidding me? I was like, oh, Cliff Jumper, Casey Kasem, no! Like I loved it, dude. It literal fucking grown man tears in my eyeballs because that shit took me back to everything. And there were nods to the 1986 animated movie that I just could not. I was sitting there going, like the 10 people that was in the theater with me, I didn't give a fuck. I was like, ooh, like that. I loved it. But the rest of the movie, was okay. And that's why it tied at number 9. Number 8, I'll be honest, best animated movie of the year, The Incredibles 2. Best animated movie of the year. And I'm going to tell you something. Y'all going to be surprised what ain't on my list. Y'all going to be surprised. But I will say, I just recently saw Wreck-It Ralph and wasn't that good. It's okay. Serviceable. Wasn't as good as the first one. Wasn't as charming. The Disney princess sequence was funny. I enjoyed more 3PO coming and interrupting them. I thought that was funny. But outside of that, Incredibles 2, I had little hopes for this movie. And I love the Incredibles franchise. I love that first movie. Love it. But it took so long. It was like almost 14 years later for this movie to come out, right? And I'm sitting and I was telling my best friend all the time, like, dude, I just don't know. Like, I just don't know. And then I go on a $6 Tuesday with my kid. I said, let's go. We're going to see The Incredibles. And I think it was packed, full of kids too, of course, obviously. And I tried to go early. Packed. Man, that movie started off and I went batshit crazy. I said, this is it. This is it. It didn't miss a beat. It did not miss a beat. It was everything I wanted from this movie. I couldn't believe it. And then there was little nods. For instance, when they get to that mansion, dude, it's Iron Man's house. It's Tony Stark's house in like Iron Man and up until Iron Man 3. I was like, oh my God. Like, I called my boy right away. I came out that movie. Dude, you need to see it because this was awesome. So, Incredibles 2 comes in at number 8 as the best animated film of 2018. I did not stutter. Number 7, A Quiet Place. Man, listen. I tell you, there's been a couple of movies, horror-wise, that I go and I thoroughly enjoy in the theater. This was one of them. I wish I would have seen The Descent in the movie theaters when it came out way back when.
Yeah.
Right? Because that movie that's what I got with A Quiet Place. It felt like The Descent. The difference was I was in the theater, and I'm telling you, man, everybody was quiet. Like, yo, it was scary. Like, just be quiet, because you never know, right? Man, you talk about a tour de force. This movie was fucking fantastic. And I use that term in all literal senses because Marvel picked them two up. There's Mr. and Mrs. Fantastic right there. He said he would do it. She's his husband, wife. Let's get that shit going right now. Emily Blunt, screw your Mary Poppins shit. You need to be Mrs. Fantastic and get your husband, who I cannot even say his name because I don't know it really, but he directed and he get him in there. That's it. There's your Fantastic Four set up right there. You got your 2 leads right there. Let's make it happen, Marvel. Marvel Phase 4. Marvel Phase Fantastic Four. Let's do it. But A Quiet Place, outside of all the Marvel nonsense and shenanigans, that movie hit me right off the bat with the death of the little boy. I love the idea that the daughter was deaf. I love that they got an actual girl who is deaf to play this role. Everything worked. I loved everything, man. Their performances was top notch. I fucking love this movie. And it's a sad shame that it's not so higher on my list because I do love this movie. But there's other reasons, and that comes down the line later why it's not as high. Other than that, it's one of my favorite horror movies of all time. It's like The Descent when I tell you, you get this creepy feeling watching these movies. A Quiet Place had it. I'm still a little weirded out by this announcement of a sequel. I don't know what they're gonna do, but I'm very, very much intrigued by that. So that was that. Was so we got 1, 2. Okay, what we at now? Number 1, 2, 3, 4.
I think that was 7.
Yeah, 6.
Yeah.
Number 6. The anti-Batman ninja. The Death of Superman. Oh my God. Are you kidding me? And we already got this in animated form. They already did this shit. But it wasn't good. And they did it in the Superman animated series style of art. It felt like it should have been placed in that. Nah, that shit was whack. This one, the one that came out this year, and that part 2 is coming out. 2018, and part 2 is coming out this year. This Death of Superman in the animated DC 52 universe was, oh my God, the closest thing to perfection in terms of DC direct animated movies goes. Dude, this one right here, this one rivals Mask of the Phantasm and Return of the Joker in my book as far as DC animated movies are concerned. This one right here hit it on all fucking levels. I sat there, I know the outcome. I've seen this before. I read the book all the time. I own it. You know what I'm saying? I know. I wasn't prepared. And I'm going to tell you, at the end of the movie, when the credits rolled, it wasn't until I saw one name and I said, that's why I feel the way I feel. And that name was Peter Tomasi. And Peter Tomasi was writing the Superman comic books at the beginning of this rebirth. And they were fucking fantastic. Some of the best Superman books I've ever read. And as I was watching this movie, I'm like, God damn, this shit is great. Like, wow, I got this feeling and I don't know what it is. And then sure as shit, the end credits start rolling. Peter Tomasi's name, written by. That's it. That is definitely on my list. 2018 best movies of the year. That came in at number 6. Yep. And number 5. Is this the real life? Pardon me, I can't sing. I'm terrible. Bohemian Rhapsody. Let me tell you something. Oh my God. Bohemian Rhapsody. Yo, this would have been number 1 on my list. Look, you think Bumblebee with that opening Cybertron sequence, like that was everything I wanted in anything, right? Bohemian Rhapsody completely caught me off guard. I'll tell you, I went on a double date. My daughter was going out with one of her friends. The friend was like, could I take you to the movies? I tell my wife, we're going. And yeah, sure shit. We let them sit a little off to the side in the next row ahead of us. But we were there. We were right there because I was keeping my eyes always open until that movie started. Then I was like, yo, watch the kid for me because I'm trying to watch Bohemian Rhapsody. Dude, this movie was dope. And the only reason why it's not number 1, the only reason why this movie is not number 1, because it damn well, it could have been. They didn't play the Flash Gordon theme. And that right there was the biggest detriment to that movie. If they would have played the Flash Gordon theme in that movie, then this movie would have been the best movie of 2018. I don't care what everybody says. I loved it that much, but they did not play that theme. I will say this, though. The finale, him at Wembley Stadium, wherever they were to do the Live Aid, me and my wife watched the Live Aid concert on YouTube about a week after we saw that movie. I couldn't believe how they nailed that. They absolutely nailed it. It was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. And it should have been number 1, but you don't put Flash Gordon in there. Shame on you. Shame on you, Queen. Shame on you. But that's my 10 to 5 list right now. So there you go. I got I Kill Giants. I got a tie with Halloween and Bumblebee. I've got Incredibles 2, the greatest animated movie of the year. I've got A Quiet Place. I've got The Death of Superman. And I've got Bohemian Rhapsody. Whoo! You want to go? How do we do it? Go ahead.
Well, I suppose I should comment on the ones that so I did see A Quiet Place. I really liked it, but I've since seen more things that really stuck with me.
Right.
I haven't seen it a second time, so I don't know how it holds up, but I feel like I won't be able to get that initial impression back.
Right. Yeah.
I really liked Bohemian Rhapsody, but just knowing a little bit about the Queen story, and knowing how kind of inaccurate a lot of things were, and I really thought the pacing was pretty bad in some parts. How it would spend like 45 minutes on one part of a year in the life of the band, and then it would just very quickly gloss over several other years. I didn't like that.
Right.
But Rami Malek is a fucking damn good actor, and now I want to watch Mr. Robot because of him.
Yo, I said the same thing, man. He's great. That was good.
But getting into my number 4 through 1, Hotel Artemis is my number 4. I know a lot of people said that movie's just okay, but from the very first like couple frames, I was in. I fucking loved the vibe I got from it. I love the story. I love the cast is unbelievable. It reminded me of Dread, essentially. It looked like Dread.
Yeah, I give you that. That's wow, man. You make me change my views.
And well, how I've been describing it to people was it was a combination. It felt like a combination of Dread and Bad Times at the El Royale, which I know you didn't like. So I guess that comparison's not really going to do a whole lot to entice you more or change your opinion. But I love both of those movies. This one, yeah, it just from the very beginning, I was laying in bed. I was sick with the stomach flu. It was a couple of weeks ago, and I was trying to get through as many movies from this year as I could. And this is the one that stood well above all of the others that I saw.
This is one of those that you regret not seeing in theaters, right?
Yeah, big time. Upgrade, I also really wish I saw in theaters, but it wasn't quite good enough to make the list.
And I didn't get to see Upgrade. That's one of the ones I missed this year.
And for the record, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, my number 11, I think, would have been Black Klansman. I just finished watching it this morning. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I know you didn't feel it too much, but I thought it was great.
I like that movie. My problem with that movie, it wasn't the movie that I had a problem with. It was I was watching that movie in a theater full of white people, bro, and I don't mean that in any other way. But this Puerto Rican dude sitting in a theater full of white people, and it was very awkward. It was very, and I'm talking about this theater was packed. It wasn't even opening night. This theater was packed, and that was the type of God damn, I can't think of the damn word I'm looking for, but that was the impact. You know what I'm saying? That just. Mm-hmm. The thought of this movie was, the idea this movie had, because I'm sitting in Bumblebee in a 400-seat theater, and it was only 10 people, Mm-hmm. And I was like that for most of the movies I've seen this year, The big ones like Avengers, of course that was mobbed every time I went to see it, but like, The Incredibles was mobbed, a bunch of kids and stuff like that, but like Halloween wasn't mobbed. The Predator wasn't mobbed. Black Panther was pretty mobbed. But Black Klansman, I thought that was the second biggest theater outing that I went to, second only to Infinity War. Mm-hmm. But I do like that movie. It's a strong fucking movie, though. That's a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah. All right. So, switching gears a little bit, getting on to my number 3, I guess. If you can have a 2-way tie for your number 1, then or your number 9, then I think I'm gonna have a 3-way tie for my number 1.
Whoa! You added an extra one? What are you talking about, huh? You added...
No. So I cannot rightfully choose between my top 3.
Okay, wait. This is gonna be
none
crazy.
of them are justifiably better than the other or justifiably worse, in my opinion. And so I'm just gonna go down the list.
So wait, your list goes.
A little bit.
So your list goes 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 1.
Yep.
I love you. That's why you get away with it.
I've been sitting here for the last 45 minutes, and well before that, just staring at my phone, staring at the list, trying to find the right order for them. And I might have it the right way, but I don't know. But all of these movies I love equally. Let's just put it that way.
Before you get started, let me ask you this one question.
Sure.
Are they all theatrical releases?
Yes.
Oh,
one of them was super limited.
Okay.
But I did see it in the theater.
Okay.
So, I guess number 3/number 1 would be Suspiria. That's the one. Yeah.
I forgot that movie came out.
What?
I forgot that movie came. That was a limited one, right?
Yeah.
See, dude, I wanted to see that. I forgot that movie came out. I thought it was coming out this year.
No, I thought it was fucking phenomenal. I don't understand it. It was a very weird and confusing and very avant-garde movie, but it scared the shit out of me. It looked amazing. The acting was superb. Let me tell you, Tilda Swinton can do a fuck of a lot more than she did in Doctor Strange.
Oh, I'm sure she can.
She played 3 roles in that movie, in Suspiria.
What?
I did not know she played 3 roles until after the fact. And she's only credited with one of them, and all 3 of them are fairly substantial roles, and that's how deep into it she got. I am a fan of the original Dario Argento Suspiria from the 70s. I haven't seen it in a long time, so I can't compare them as much as I'd like to, but this one just stuck with me for days afterwards, and I cannot wait to watch it again. So my number 2, I think, /number 1 is Annihilation.
Ooh.
You remember how fucking hard I was raving about that movie when it first came out?
I know, Ben. That one, boy, that has the scariest sound in the history of scary sounds in that movie. That fucking bear thing. No!
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
That was probably the first amazing movie I saw this year. That's the one that really, really blew me away. And it's set the bar for... That's been my bar for the rest of the year. Because that movie was so fucking good to me that it's been, extremely hard for anything to come close in my eyes. I thought it was really scary. I thought it scared the shit out of me, especially that fucking bear. It was visually gorgeous. I really liked the story. I liked the unknown kind of Lovecraftian vibe it had to it. I liked that it didn't lean too far in one direction or the other. It was, kind of horror here and there. It was kind of sci-fi here and there. And I think it balanced all those tones really well. The cast is also, phenomenal. I've heard people say, this is what the 2016 Ghostbusters should have been.
That's a weird one. What?
A team of... the cast is, with the exception of Oscar Isaac, is all women.
Right.
And they all have distinct roles and personalities, and it's handled well. The marketing for Annihilation, what little marketing there was, wasn't, look, we have women. It was look, we have people.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was what it was. The inclusion of all women in the cast was interesting. It was, it served a purpose in the story.
There's an argument there to be made that we're not going to get into right now, but I'll tell you, there's an argument there to be made in regards to what that terminology there between Ghostbusters and Annihilation, because they're 2 completely different movies. One's a franchise and one is a spectacular science fiction of this year. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Well, I agree with that, but I just think that this is how Ghostbusters should have handled their cast, their marketing and stuff in that regard. And instead of, like I said, look, we have women, and you better watch it because you're a sexist if you're not. Whereas this, I felt like was just more of a subtle, natural thing. But I don't want to turn this into just being about bashing Ghostbusters. And then I guess my number one would be Hereditary. That's also a movie that really fucking stuck with me for a lot of reasons. The acting is phenomenal. I feel like that's what's dominated my list this year is performances really captured my attention more than a lot of other things, more than a lot of
the flashbang,
story beats and stuff like that. It's like this has been a great fucking year for acting and performances. I thought it was Hereditary scared the shit out of me. I know I feel like all three and a lot of movies on my top 10 have been very divisive movies. It's very much either you love it or you hate it, and with pros and cons for each side, I think. But yeah, these ones really resonated with me. The family dynamic, ghost shit and demon shit is probably some of the only stuff that actually like freaks me out because something can happen at any time, and there's just a way with it to make you can go down the cliche Paranormal Activity route of ghost or demon shit of just jump scares, right, or you can make subtle horror. And that's what I felt like Hereditary was just unrelenting, just tension with, and in The Conjuring, it does that too. It has those moments of just building up tension, and then you get the release with the jump scare. But there's 2 or 3 jump scares in all of Hereditary, most of which are at the end. So that tension just builds. It's just building the whole movie. And you don't get that release. And even when you do get the jump scare release, you're still fucking terrified. Or at least I was. And just like Toni goddamn Collette, like, oh my god, I never realized what a amazing actor she is. I will be very angry if she doesn't get an Oscar nomination for this. But
that's a hard sell too, because think about it, it's a horror movie, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if Get Out and Shape of Water, which aren't decidedly distinctly horror, can get best screenplay and best picture and best director last year, then I think Hereditary has a chance. Not a huge chance, but it has a chance.
I agree with you there. I can't even knock that because you're absolutely right. The only thing I will say is though, those movies were more. I don't mean it like that, but those movies were more commercial than Hereditary seemed.
Get Out was. I think Shape of Water definitely has a distinct audience.
Well, think about the name though. It was Guillermo del Toro, so it's a following.
True. But yeah, I think he makes movies for his fans. He doesn't make movies for people who don't care about him or his work.
I agree. Shit did win Best Picture. It's crazy.
Yeah. But so that's my list. I feel good about putting those 3 in that order from 3 to 1, but I love them all very equally. This was a hard year for me to pick a whole 10 because there was a lot of movies I really, really liked, but a lot of them I didn't think were quite good enough to get in there, because I would have, beginning of the year, I would have loved to put Rampage in there.
Of course. Black Panther.
After rewatching, it just doesn't hold up for me nearly as much.
Right.
But still a good fucking movie.
And it's fun. It's retarded fun.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, these movies just lingered with me and really affected me in a way that's I don't know, that I can't help but call them some of my favorites probably ever.
Nah, I hear that. Listen, man, and that's exactly what I had. Not a beef with, but like an oh my god, what's going on moment for 2018. There was so many movies coming out this year from so many franchises that we all know, and it seemed like whether they missed the mark or not, they just it for me it wasn't enough. You hated the Predator. I didn't hate the Predator. I did not hate it. I thought it was an absolute bonkers crazy train ride. Like it was absolute bonkers. It was retarded fun. I enjoyed it. It was stupid. Did I like it in terms of where it's placed in the overall franchise? No, I wish this was one of those movies that just happens in an alternate universe, right? Because it doesn't make sense. Another one that's like Venom, for instance. I loved Venom. I did. I really did. Was it top 10 worthy? Nah, I seen better. And I really enjoyed Venom. Like I did. It was things like that. Things like that that I was shocked because here I was figuring this is going to be tough trying to put this list together. And yet it made it so much more easy. Now you have a lot of things on your list that I haven't heard of. And you were watching from different places. Things that pretty much nobody's never going to hear of, or not never going to hear of, because you have honestly just said it, obviously. But things that they're not going to look for, right? So now that you said something like, let's say, You Might Be the Killer. Oh, let me go check that out, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I never heard of that. I wasn't looking for nothing like that. My list was based more on the shit coming out this year, because at the top of the year, you couldn't tell me that this movie, and it still is. 2018, that year was stacked with movies. Stacked. Right? And here goes my last 4 movies. Coming in at number 4, Black Panther, which at the top of the year, I gave a perfect 10 to. Perfect. Mm-hmm. I love that movie. I do. I love that movie. I watched that movie 3 times so far this year, and each time I'm like, Lord, I love this movie. I do. But I'm like, how the hell did this movie not make number 1? And there's a reason. But why is it not in the top 3? You know, like that movie really, really, really changed me. Something you said when we did the review for Black Panther that I take into consideration now when watching that movie. Michael B. Jordan's performance. I agree now. I think I was on the fence with you. I was probably at odds with you initially when we did that review. But I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. It's dialed in. And the reason why I say this is because I saw Creed 2. And that's another movie. That is all right. It doesn't make my top 10. Creed 1 made my top. But this one doesn't. But you could see the difference. Like, Michael B. Jordan's focused in Creed. And in Black Panther, he's focused, but it's not.
It's a little inconsistent.
Right.
He is damn good in a lot of scenes, mm-hmm. but in a few scenes, maybe not. Maybe they used a different take.
Right.
Maybe should have, shot that one again or something.
And it takes nothing away from the movie because I still give it a perfect 10. It's probably the only perfect 10 that's on my list. I gotta be honest with you. You would think that would be number 1. But it's not, because coming in at number 3 is the horror movie of the fucking... It's not even a horror movie. I'm lying. It's not even a horror movie. But the movie I enjoyed more than any other movie this year. Seriously. Only because it was exactly what I wanted it to be. And it didn't need to be anything. It didn't need to be anything. Because it wasn't a franchise name. It wasn't no big thing, a part of this universe. It was just a thing. And coming in number 3 is Overlord. My God, man. I'm going to tell you something about Overlord. I love zombie movies. Big fucking zombie fan. I used to be deadly scared of zombies since Michael Jackson's Thriller and I was a little boy. That video freaked me the hell out. Back in them days, Channel 11, WPIX New York, Channel 11, used to play Return of the Living Dead Part 2. I used to try to watch it, couldn't because I was afraid of zombies. It wasn't until one Halloween, okay, that VH1 played George Romero's Night of the Living Dead, that I sat there and I watched the original black and white, and I watched it and I said, oh my God, This is fantastic. And after that, I went and I just scooped up any zombie movie I could get, whether it was from the U.S., whether it was from Italy, whether it was from Japan. I didn't care. Give me more zombies. So I'm a huge zombie movie fan, right? Love them. I'm also a gigantic war movie buff. I love war movies. I absolutely love war movies. Saving Private Ryan, Black Hawk Down, The Patriot, Glory, like all of these. Apocalypse Now, even though it's not really a war movie, there's some sequences in there that is dope as shit. But I love those movies. So what does J.J. Abrams decide to do? He says, I got this idea. I'm going to put war movies and zombie movies together and set it in World War II, and bingo, we got ourselves a movie. And for me, you got yourself a bona fide hit. I absolutely loved it. From the beginning, the opening sequence on the plane and the freaking plane gets shot to shit, I loved it. It was everything because it was the horror of war. The way Saving Private Ryan opens up on Normandy Beach, the horror of war. I thought they captured that perfectly. I loved
that opening scene on the plane was just anxiety, the motion picture.
Yes. It was insane, dude. I love, man, I'll tell you right now, that opening scene, my popcorn was gone. Because the gone, popcorn finished. I love that movie, man. I can't even tell you how much I love that movie. But I love that movie, man. If that movie didn't come out, A Quiet Place probably would have been number 3. It probably would have been number 3. It probably would have been there because I wanted to put something scary up in there. But this movie, and it wasn't even scary. It was just everything I wanted from two things that I love so much, 2 genres, and they did it well. I would love to see a franchise of this. Not going to happen, but I would love... Give me one in Vietnam next. Like, I would love to see more of that. But number 2... Oh, boy, number 2. You think that shit was batshit crazy. Let me tell you something. What do you get when you take decades-old joke, right? And then make a movie with the dude who makes horror movie and fast car movies, right? With the superhero that is the butt of all superhero jokes. You get Aquaman. Let me tell you something about Aquaman. I'll tell you this shit, man, this should have been number 1. Unfortunately, it ran into a juggernaut, but this shit should have been number 1. I'll tell you why. Aquaman, little known fact, is my 3rd favorite DC superhero. As a kid, the only reason why I swam around in the pool was because I thought I was Aquaman. So I was never afraid of the water because of Aquaman, right? Not because he talked to fish and all that. Because Aquaman swims underwater. I want to swim underwater. My uncle got a pool. I do it to this fucking day. I jump in my pool, swim around, think I'm Aquaman, right? Fat Aquaman, but Aquaman nonetheless. This movie is everything I needed it to be. They took the butt of a joke, ran with it through the kitchen sink, the bathroom tub, the toilet, your television set, the living room, the dish, everything. They took the whole house, threw it in the movie, spun it into this fucking crazy, weird, nutty, epic. Dude, the only way to describe Aquaman is the visual version of rock and roll. It is absolutely batshit. It's bonkers. It is bonkers. And then the coup de grace. The coup de grace. This is when I was like, get out of here. I got up. I get out of my chair. I did a spin. I sat back down. Give me the fucking popcorn. Give me the fucking Raisinets. It's on now. It's on now. He busts out at the end when there's a giant war going on with not the whole 7 seas, but enough of it where there's like crab-like creatures that are fighting from one kingdom against like mermaid-type creatures against Dolph fucking Lundgren, okay? Look, Dolph Lundgren was in this movie. Game over. Better than Creed 2, I'm telling you right now. But then Aquaman busts out in his dope-ass Aquaman suit. They made it work. Riding a giant kaiju. Game over. Game over. Game over. It was over. He was riding the giant monster. And that thing looked like something right out of Pacific Rim. I fucking loved it. I ate that shit up. Visually, it's stunning too. Don't get me wrong. The flashy lights and shit might hypnotize you. But I absolutely loved that. I couldn't believe what I was seeing in regards to that. So, Jason Momoa, not the best actor in the world. No. But knows how to run with a joke. And that's what I liked about it. He gave it some charm in that regard. He knows what he's up against in terms of the character and what it is. Remember when that first image that Zack Snyder dropped of Aquaman dropped and everybody went crazy like, oh shit, this is a brand new Aquaman. And we thought that's what we were going to get. Nope, we still got the jokey Aquaman, but what James Wan did, it blew me away, man. And then of course that he puts his little horror spin in there when you do with the trench. I love that sequence. I love that sequence. And the colors of this movie, I mean, everything was very vibrant. Very, very vibrant. The color palette, everything. And it was just absolute crazy. And Black Manta is one of my favorite villains. And to see him on screen, let me tell you something, it worked so much. Come on, man. Come on. How do you make that work? You don't. They did. I loved it. Number 2, only because Avengers Infinity War is the juggernaut of 2018. There's no way around it. I know you put it up there, number 6. I'm going to tell you something, man. And Infinity War was very satisfying because it was the culmination of 10 years. And they lost. And I love that. I loved it. I loved everything about that movie. I've seen that movie more than I've seen any other movie this year, in 2018. More than any other movie. I've watched that movie now to the point like it's got the same amounts of plays like episode 7 got. You know what I mean? Like, I watch this movie. I love this movie. I do not tire of this movie. I try to pinpoint scenes where I'm like, I could go take a pee here. I cannot find that part of the movie. I love this movie. I don't know what it is. It's the culmination of 10 years, me being a giant comic book geek, me loving the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They knocked it out of the park with this one, man. They really did. It was everything I wish Justice League was in 2017. It's not gonna be. And oh my God, I tell you that ending. The kids crying when Spider-Man goes bye-bye. That's more than enough to make my day. Made my year, son. I was sitting there because I got choked up. I'm not gonna lie. Spidey's my number 1 Marvel guy, right? Oh, seeing him go, Mister, I don't feel so good. I sit there, I'm like, man. But then watching that shit again with my daughter and watching it again with other people in the crowd, kids crying, like, man, I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but it was something about the children's tears that really, really made me go nuts. Like, you kids don't know. That's how I felt when Luke Skywalker got his arm cut off, his hand cut off, and Darth Vader told me was his dad. No, you don't understand, children. This is what happens in these fictional universes. The stakes are high. I loved it. That's my number 1, man. It's my number 1. I honestly, that Infinity War blew me away. I ain't mad at you with Hereditary. Well, you're right. Our lists are so completely different, dude. I think Infinity War is number 1. If you think about it. Because there's only 2 movies that are on our list. Overlord and Infinity War.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. That's the G-Show's top 2 is Infinity War and Overlord.
Yes, it is. So, all right, before we get out of here, let me just let's do this real quick. What are your most anticipated movies for 2019?
Obviously Godzilla.
Yeah, oh boy.
Right, full stop. Obviously Godzilla. Everything after that, Avengers. I'm looking forward to Endgame a lot. Star Wars, just because it's obligatory.
Was it really? Because we didn't mention it not once, and yet Solo came out in 2018.
No. Solo was extremely middle of the road. It was good, not great.
Wasn't Rogue One?
No. Yeah, I don't know. Those are really the only 2 like big ones that really come to my mind right now. I'm just kind of drawing a blank. So yeah, those I'll have definitely my 2.
Allow me to jog your memory. So I also Godzilla. And it's funny that I say Godzilla, but I think Star Wars might be my most anticipated movie of 2019, only because y'all know how
they're gonna fix it.
Yes, I hate Last Jedi. I've tried to watch it twice this year. 2018. I do not like that movie at all. So Star Wars, then Godzilla, then Endgame, which is kind of crazy because Endgame should be. But I'm okay with Endgame. The thing I'm most looking forward to with Endgame is this. They just dropped the like official title image, which that's a stupid thing to talk about, but it's purple. And everybody automatically jumped to Thanos. Let me tell you something. Who else is purple? Galactus. So just putting that out there. But I'm also looking forward to It Chapter 2, bro. Come on.
Oh, fuck, yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, dude, I am really looking forward to that. Like, that's high up on my list. Like, that one, because I don't care. I'm going to tell you right now, Captain Marvel, that second trailer did nothing for me. When I was like, all right, I don't really need to see this. I'm looking forward to Shazam.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed that Wonder Woman got pushed back to 2020, because that would have been up there, top 5 for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But really, those are the movies that I'm looking forward to the most. Godzilla definitely. Star Wars most importantly because they need to fix everything. And Avengers, It Chapter 2 because the first one, even though I didn't think it was scary, I thought it was a damn good movie. Like, really good.
Yeah, I agree.
But we'll be here. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, 2019 is kicked off. That was our list of 2018 TV shows. Listen, I didn't start Outsiders yet. I'm going to start watching Young Justice Outsiders. But that DC app might be the most important thing of 2019 for me.
Worth your money. Go fucking pay for it.
Damn right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all for hanging out with us, hearing me ramble and go crazy, especially when it came to Transformers. Best thing I've seen in 10 years. Yo, Matt, thanks, bro. It's been a while. I'm glad we got to do this.
Of course, yeah. I've been looking forward to this for a very long time because I knew it was going to be a lot of fun and a good discussion both ways.
Absolutely, and we got to get you back on the damn Godzilla block parties, man.
Yeah, we do. You did the last one. I don't think you even told me.
Yeah, I did like 17 of them without you. The last 17 of them without you. But I still love. Listen, man, me and Chase love you. We do. I love you.
I'll be back if I can make the schedule work.
I hear that. And listen, thank y'all for listening, man. I am G1 on behalf of G95 and the G Show. Happy New Year, y'all. We out of here. Peace.